All right, so I got the Firestone 1952 Firestone 10 horse. This was made by Scott Atwater. The coils, I took the flywheel off last night and I found no surprise, but the coils are cracked. So I took them off, pulled them off the laminates. This is the same kind of coil that I found underneath. The other one, whoop, I cut them off. I slit it with a hacksaw until I can start prying it apart. Then I unwrap it all from the laminate. And then I had these coils from this is off of a Firestone 5 horse from, I think it was 1958. I bought the motor for 25 bucks at a rummage sale. It had a lot of issues, but anyway, that's the motor I got these coils off. But if you buy an like an old green Elgin or a junk Martin, a motor, a cheap motor, just so you can get the coils off. Let's say the motor's seized up or missing all kinds of parts, but you can still pull the flywheel and find some valuable stuff. The Elgins, some of the Elgins, the green ones, used the same coils, the same coils, yeah, but the same points, the Wyco points. These slide back and forth. Show you. When it hits the high lobe on the cam, it pushes up against that, and there's one on the other side. But you can find these coils and the points to keep these Scott Atwaters living by buying even another junk Scott Atwater. Something that's seized up or whatever, blown up, whatever. You get a $20 motor, you're going to find all kinds of parts you can keep around, and you'd be surprised all the different motors you can put them on sometimes. So anyway, I pulled the old coils off the laminates. I showed you how I got those off. And then I slid these coils on. I slid them right on the laminates, what I'm talking about. Most of you guys, or some of you guys already know what I'm talking about, but let's say when you buy a OMC replacement coil, you get this whole part. Doesn't quite look like the same shape, but I'm just to show you what I'm talking about. A laminate. This is a laminate. You ever get a master padlock, you see it like that. It's layers of different layers put together. That's why it's called laminate, because it's laminated. But you pull the good coil off the laminate. This is a 5/8 laminate for some of the bigger Scott Atwaters that I work on. Like that one there. That 16 horse has a 5/8 laminate, but it uses the same points as an old Elgin or a Martin. So as I say, I buy up all kinds of junk motors just so I can keep these parts. I press the coil on the laminate, and then you bend that tab back up. You gotta be careful. Sometimes they'll break. This one broke off on me. But anyway, there's also a spring-loaded portion in there that'll keep it on. That one doesn't have it, but yeah, sometimes that little tab breaks off. But it's fitting on there pretty tight. If you're worried about it, you could shim it with just a sliver of phenolic, just a piece of scrap phenolic material, or even a little piece of wood, just to keep it from sliding off. But I mean, it's not going to go very far if it does slide anyway. So then I put new plug wires on. I mark everything as I'm taking it apart. The Firestone plug wires had a band around the top cylinder, so I traced it back on the mag plate and marked it so I could remember what goes where. Because there's not, well, I got manuals, but sometimes you don't. Next thing you're going to want to do, you want to clean all the old grease off of the off your mag plate and the mating surface where it's going to be pivoting around on that, and then apply some new grease. I like to use Amsoil marine grease, and then you just put it back down. You got to make sure your cam follower on your carburetor doesn't get in the way. Pull that down a little bit. There. Okay, and then down in here, right there it is. You see that screw right there? That keeps it. There's a lip around the, it's actually a recessed area. And you get that screw when it goes through in between the two ridges on that boss around the crank. And that keeps this from coming off. You don't want to get it too tight, obviously. You want it tight enough so that your throttle level stays where you want it, but yet it's not so tight that you can't move it. Just tighten it. Let this friction on there keeps your throttle where you want it. I'm going to go a little bit tighter. I got it pretty good. There we go. And one more little, maybe a quarter turn. Cool. I don't worry about soldering these. When you put the new wires in, this will force itself right up under the eyelet. I just pulled them through. I've taken apart a lot of motors that were not soldered, the connections, and you got to be careful if you do solder them, because you could overheat the coil and the eyelet could pop out. And I've never had any problem running a motor when they're like this. You know, not having a problem with the connection being good. I should have tinned the end though a little bit, so but that's it. Now I just got to set the timing, put the flywheel back on it, and see if I got spark. Thanks for watching.